Hey guys, it's Beth. Very long time no see. So I am back on my bike for the first time in about 3 months, and let's have a chat about mental health while I go down my first trail in a very long time. So I've not been okay. I know that a lot of us, in fact, you know, it could be expected, all of us, to have struggled with more things in your mind since, you know, everything that's been happening to the world. You know what I'm talking about. And yeah, it's okay not to be okay, as everyone says, but it doesn't do much for comfort when you aren't okay. So just to get a bit personal and I guess share what's been going on, I have always struggled with poor mental health in some form or another. Started when I was a kid. Always had awful social anxiety, which resulted in a fair bit of bullying. And yeah, that's hard for a kid to deal with. So I've actually been seeing a psychologist since I was 8, regularly, off and on, you know. Occasionally I've had good patches where I haven't seen one for 6 months, 12 months, but I've always ended up needing their help and having to go back to them. Whoops! Focusing on my chat instead of the trail. So yeah, I also, since moving to Queensland 8 years ago, fun fact if you don't know, I'm from country Tassie, so even the sunny coast here where I live is a big city compared to where I'm from. So being exposed to a new set of people, being at university, being young, being vulnerable, which I didn't think I was. I've always seen myself as strong, you know, both emotionally and physically. I've always found pride in my ability to, you know, compete alongside the boys and handle my own, and I've got a black belt, and you know, I felt safe in my strength. But unfortunately, I was taken advantage of when I didn't think that could happen, on 2 particular major circumstances. And one, just the week that I got to Queensland, so I was exposed to a massive trauma and I had no one to help. All my family were all down in Tassie still. You know, I had no friends because I'm not good at making friends and I'd only been there a week. And I was just alone and completely traumatized. And then I think as a result of all of that, I ended up in an abusive relationship for a number of years, which again, I just never thought it could be me. Let me just adjust my camera a bit if I can. Oh no, it was good. Yeah, I want to keep chatting, so let's just head straight down into Lush Loop. So that was Rocky Road in, and this will be Lush. Anyway, so yeah, I was stuck for a number of years with no self-esteem, feeling like I was crazy, not being safe, in my own home. And another big thing that made it really hard during that period of time was when I was starting my career as a paramedic. So I'd be unsafe at home, and then I'd go to work, and I'd either, being on the front line, feel, my physical safety was actually at risk, or I was having to treat people and comfort people for the same things that I was going through at home. So I really, really struggled. I was in fight or flight mode every day. I was in survival mode. And when you're just trying to survive, you can't thrive. But thank God, during that period, I found mountain biking, and it's been just over 2 years now that since I found a bike, and it has made a massive difference to my well-being, physically and mentally and emotionally. I've found so much joy in doing this, and if you know anything about brain chemistry and hormones, you'll know that exercise releases dopamine, and that is a feel-good hormone. Dopamine and endorphins, another one. So when you exercise, you're literally forcing your brain to have this injection of happiness, basically. So I found this, and through this I managed to get through all my training as a paramedic. I worked on the front line from the start of COVID all the way through till a couple of months ago, and I did it. But unfortunately, again, back to the relationship that I was in, I ended up financially tied down to them and stuck, and that was just another form of manipulation they could use on me. I was completely under their control, so I had to find a way out, and literally the only way I could do that safely, because I know it's a completely other topic and needs a lot more discussion than just mentioning, but in Queensland, if you're a woman who's not safe in their own home, the only way that the police can become involved and protect you is if you inform your abuser that you are applying to get protection from them. Basically, you have to get permission from the person you are trying to escape in order to get help. And this is not safe or possible for the majority, anecdotally, and from what I've read in articles, journal articles, not Courier Mail fucking articles. If you do that, that is when your safety is at most risk. If you tell the person who is abusing you that you're trying to get help to get away from them, they're gonna do everything that they can to keep you. And it's a well-researched fact that the most dangerous time for a person in a domestic violence relationship is when they have to leave, or can finally leave, find the courage to leave, because it's so much easier when you've been brainwashed and trapped to stay where you are, because you end up your only support being that person. They take everyone away from you. They cut off your friends. They alienate your family, and you're left only with them to go back to, especially if you end up financially involved with them. And that's not something you can just go, okay, I'm going. Like, you have to sell houses, you have to separate assets, you have to try and get them to agree to these things, all in the while knowing that you're in physical danger, and that if they decide to, they can fight you on all of this and destroy you financially. So it is not easy to leave. For me, I was lucky in my position in emergency services. I was able to go to the local police station and actually speak to a detective and get a personal assurance and respect from them that my situation was valid and that they were going to do everything that they could to help me. And these things, they weren't illegal by any means, but they weren't the standard procedure, which is informing the person that you're going for help. But I only got this because of my privilege being one of their, sisters, the emergency services family. But there aren't many people that can go into a station and demand that respect because of their position or their achievements. And it was only because of that I was able to get a red flag, excuse me, put on my phone number. Basically, if I'm to call 000 from that number, no matter if it gets cut off, no matter if I don't say anything, that local police will be alerted, top priority, to respond to my address to come and help. But normally that only happens after you've filled out the protection order and served it to your abuser. So they gave me that, and I know it's not typical, but I do feel that if you are in my situation or something similar, just make yourself heard. I know it's hard, but tell them that you're not safe, informing the person that you need help and that you need them to put a flag on your number, because that is all that they can do to try and help protect you when you're in or when you're attempting to leave the situation that you're in. So I had that, and I broke up with the person, and they left and they came back, and I had no legal grounds to get them out. We shared a property, so they apologised. Oh bloody hell, I need to lube my gears. They apologised, and as they do, got emotional, pretended that they were really, really hurt, and promised that they learnt from their mistakes and that was never going to happen again. So, as it goes, I had about 2 fucking days of safety, and then it was back to what was happening. And I'm not going to go into details about that. I think you can get the point and just understand that it doesn't matter if it's emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse, social abuse. They're all valid. You can experience all of them, or one of them, or a combination of them. And that is not okay. And all of them are hard to leave and hard to beat and hard to move on from, and all of them cause trauma that the individual will then have to spend months, years, decades, even the rest of their lives processing and trying to get their brain back to a level where they feel safe breathing. So I only had one way out. I had to get a job that was well paying enough that I could support myself in either finding a long-term rental, mind you this was during COVID, rental crisis, or buying a house on my own at 23 to escape. And I couldn't stay where I love to live anymore, even though the Sunshine Coast holds a lot of awful memories for me. I'm still not done here. It's a beautiful place. I have access to so much and I'm so lucky, but I had to leave. I couldn't stay within finding distance, driving distance of the person that I had to get away from. So I had to take a job that I had to move away for, do those things and work on call overnight, get woken up in the middle of the night multiple times a night to go out and attend to medical emergencies in a rural area. A lot of the time just me for at least the first 20-30 minutes of interaction with these patients, and I did it. I had to buy a house to work there because there were no rentals, so I was trapped again somewhere where I didn't want to be and in a job that was really hard, but it was so much better than being trapped where I was before. So I moved away and I did that. I did that for nearly a year. The person did try contacting me. They did try finding out where I was, and I had to lie. I don't like lying, but I had to tell them that I was somewhere that I wasn't. So there was no chance of them finding me. I couldn't post anything about my new job on my social medias. I had to tell my family not to speak about it or share it. My parents, they were proud. I'd gotten a full-time job in the state ambulance service at 23. I'd bought a house on my own. They were proud. They wanted to share it, but they couldn't. So yeah, I worked there, and unfortunately, being a country town, a small town, you got to know everyone. And it was a really bad year, case-wise. So to put it into perspective, a paramedic on an area like the Sunshine Coast, they'd average having to treat and then declare one patient deceased every 12 months is the average. And honestly, with the training that we have, and because it's a part of our job, our brains, we can manage that. That's a manageable feat, having 12 months to process and heal and consider and go through all of those emotions, because we care about our patients, and if they pass away, it does affect us too. So in my nearly 10 months, so nearly a year in the town, I had nine go, and a number were quite traumatic, and I don't think many of us could deal with that. One of them was quite close to me after moving there, and I'd formed a relationship with them and their family, and they were gone. And then I was assaulted by a patient, and I had another experience that I can't go into there, which left me, sorry, just having a quick drink, been talking and writing the whole time, which left me with no trust in anyone around me and fear again for my well-being in a number of aspects. And after a year of being woken up water done. Woken up multiple times a night, then working during the day, getting an hour or two of sleep at a time, knowing that you have to have one ear open for the phone so you can go out, put your uniform on and go fix whatever situation is in front of you. And I was risking my personal safety and my mental health again. So after, I need to concentrate on my writing, not my talking. Oh well, this part isn't interesting for you guys. I'm just heading up the fire trail to the top of Taser and Blue Tongue. So I was working 80 to 130 hour weeks, and after being injured I was on night duties. I couldn't complete my role. Yeah, I had to move. G'day.
Cheers.
So yeah, I had to give up my financial security because there was no opportunity for me to come back down to the coast in any form of part-time or full-time role with any guaranteed hours. I became casual again and moved back down and began working in that casual capacity. But at that point, finally, I was safe from the relationship I had, and I was safe from the trauma of on-call emergency work. And I thought that that would be a time for healing and getting better. But what I failed to realise and didn't take into account, what I've learnt now, is that if you spend any period of time in survival mode, your brain puts the trauma from that time away, it compartmentalises it, doesn't deal with it, but it's still there. It doesn't go away with time, it needs to be processed. And you can't process these things if you are in a situation where you aren't safe to do so. So I was finally safe, and it all came crashing down. So over the past 6-9 months, I have had a massive increase in the symptoms of my complex PTSD. I have been struggling more than ever with my depression. My anxiety turned into panic attacks for the first time in my life during this period, and I haven't been okay I have a doctor, I have a psychologist, I have a psychiatrist. I now have a beautiful partner who I feel safe with and who supports me. But because of all of those protective factors that are in place now, Taser's closed. I had it all come tumbling down. So, here you go, I'll just stop at the top here for a minute before I head down Blue Tongue, because I've been chatting so bloody much that I do need a little break. I'm not superhuman, and as I said, I haven't been on my bike in 3 months, so yeah. So basically it's all gone to shit. Also, if you're in southeast Queensland, you know it's been the worst riding weather for a very long time. We've had so much rain, which means the trails are in terrible nick, and if you ride them you just damage them, and that's bad bike etiquette. So I've had excuses not to go out, and in not exercising I haven't had that extra assistance from those endorphins, that dopamine, and it's just gotten worse. So I haven't been on my Instagram, I haven't replied to a message in months. I'm too overwhelmed, and I'm really sorry to anyone that's felt ignored. I just haven't been able to, and yeah, but today marks day one of getting back on my bike. I've booked in a race this weekend, so I've got to train a few times this week in prep, and I wasn't planning on sharing all of this, but I just started talking, and I feel it's important to share. So I'm going to try and get this video uploaded. Obviously, if you're seeing it, I've done that, and to become active on my Instagram again, and to have a good time at the race on Saturday. So yeah, I actually have a doctor's appointment in about 45 minutes to an hour, so this is just a quick ride to get me back into it. I've needed to test my front brakes because they've been playing up because I accidentally squeezed them while there was no disc in the wheel. But yeah, we'll chuck my suspension on, and there's actually some moisture in my brand new Hero 10 lens, which I'm not impressed about, because the same thing happened to my Hero 8 and it was out of warranty, so I bought this one, and the first time I'm using it, it's got bloody mist in it. So anyways, we'll head down Blue Tongue, and yeah, no idea what this trail is like at the minute, so we just take it easy. So we've got the skinny here, got a little bit of a gap in the middle, but you can roll it. You come around this corner, down this ramp, go to the left of those roots, and then you've got these steps here. So weight back, so you don't go A over T like I did the first time I came down this trail on a hardtail, mind you. So drop, and coming in right around this corner. So there's a few exposed rocks, they've been marked off with pink, so just watch those. That corner there can be a bit tricky, you can get thrown into that tree on the left, so just watch your landing angle after that little rock drop. So this is generally where you need to start pedaling. If you're trying to get down here with any speed, I can only put my seat up just through there and then pop it down again here to cruise through this last flowy section with a few pedals in between. As you can see, it's all pretty rutted out, and this corner down here, when it's wet, it's so muddy. I just went through it there, and it'll throw you off to the left into those trees there. So yeah, that's Blue Tongue. I'm going to check the time, and see if I can get another lap in before I have to go to the doctors and spill my guts about how much I'm struggling. So yeah, I hope you guys are getting through, you're doing okay, and if you're not, please reach out to whoever is most comfortable for you, because we all need help sometimes. Yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys next time, hopefully. Bye.